Before I begin, do be warned that this video is largely focused around the topic of sexual assault. Pedophilia is bad. Many people would consider this to be about as non-controversial as a statement can get. Sadly, it seems that many people would be wrong. Every single time a conventionally attractive female rapes an underage boy, the crime is subject to an ungodly amount of glorification and romanticization. The crime is portrayed not as rape, but instead simply as sex. The offender is not described as the pedophile and rapist that they are, but instead in flattering terms. The most attractive possible pictures of the offender become the front page of the story. This is very different to the treatment that similar immoral men get. Their crime is accurately labelled as what it is: rape. They are described as exactly what they are: pedophiles. They get plenty of hideous photos to accompany the news headlines, and so they should. Adults who have sex with children are pedophiles and rapists. They should be labelled as such regardless of their gender. They should be viewed as the immoral creatures that they are, regardless of gender. Rape and pedophilia are always bad, regardless of the gender of the child and gender of the adult. This should be irrelevant. Rape is rape. A pedophile is a pedophile. An immoral person is an immoral person. So, why has this suddenly come to my attention? Most of you probably already know. Recently, the New York Post Twitter account tweeted about a female pedophile who raped an underage boy 4 times in one day. Their choice of wording, however, was a little different to mine. The tweet said, quote, "Glamorous hideous 45 charged with having sex with 14-year-old boy 4 times in one day." End quote. If that wasn't reprehensible enough, the post featured 2 pictures of the offender. These pictures were without a doubt the most attractive pictures of the offender they could possibly get their hands on. The post was romanticizing and glorifying rape and pedophilia. There is no way around it. Describing a rapist as glamorous. Describing rape as sex. Featuring the most attractive pictures they could find. Glorifying and romanticizing rape and pedophilia. Let's swap the genders. Just imagine a post saying, "Handsome man 45 charged with having sex with 14-year-old girl 4 times in one day," with an accompanying image of an attractive shirtless man. That is the gender-reversed version, and it would generate massive outrage, as it should. The real post should be treated as just as outrageous as the gender-reversed version. Rape and pedophilia do not suddenly become acceptable when the gender changes. Glorifying and romanticizing rape and pedophilia is never acceptable. And if referring to a rapist as glamorous and rape as sex isn't glorification and romanticization, I don't know what is. And this is not a one-off either. It is part of a larger pattern. Every now and then this happens. It is indicative of a larger social trend. A deeply troublesome social trend. A social trend of glorifying and romanticizing rape and pedophilia when the offender is female and the victim is male. If the post wasn't bad enough to induce dejection, one need only look at the comments. Hordes of middle-aged men fantasizing about how much they would love to be the victim. Hordes of middle-aged men glorifying and romanticizing rape and pedophilia. The outpouring of pedophilia and rape supporters whenever something like this happens is beyond disturbing. Men going on and on about how lucky the victim was to be raped by a pedophile. Just talking about it honestly makes me feel ill. Responding to child rape by saying you wish you were the child is beyond grotesque and entirely inappropriate. How is it appropriate to respond to a rape story by saying you would have enjoyed it? How is it appropriate to respond to a rape story by saying the person who was raped was lucky? All of these troglodytes in the replies going on and on about how lucky the raped child was. It is beyond disgusting. Don't let your desire become a justification of and downplaying of someone else's abuse. Don't let your desire become a glorification and romanticization of child rape. These subhumans happily normalize the idea that children can consent and that sometimes pedophilia is fine. Pedophilia is never fine. When you make room for exceptions to the immorality of pedophilia, every pedophile will think that they will be the exception. All the pedophilia is immoral. It is child abuse. It is a violation of consent. It is deeply harmful. The outpouring of pedophilia supporters whenever this happens is incredibly disturbing. Glorifying and romanticizing child rape is highly immoral. It is absolutely reprehensible. It is entirely inexcusable. The comments under such posts being infested with pedophilia glorifying and romanticizing filth is commonplace and indicative of a harmful social trend. There is also a great hypocrisy at play here. People's unhinged reactions to this egregious crime generated an absolute goldmine of hypocrisy. The people glorifying and romanticizing the child rape, the people saying the 14-year-old was lucky and that they wish they were him, were all of the same people complaining about LGBT groomers. They take their opposition to grooming so seriously that they romanticize and glorify child rape. They take their opposition to grooming so seriously that they call the victims of child rape lucky. These people are honestly subhuman. They don't care about children. They literally support rape and pedophilia. They just hate gay people. They are motivated not by an opposition to grooming, but instead pure hatred of gay people. They make this very clear when they glorify, romanticize, defend, and support child rape. In many regards, this is just another reminder of how little people's supposed moral values often mean to them. They hate pedophiles, except for when they are glorifying them. They hate rape, except for when they are romanticizing it. Just swap the gender of the offender and the gender of the victim, and suddenly hordes of people support rape and pedophilia. It is disgusting, and it is indefensible. It is a reminder that even that which we thought everyone collectively regarded as immoral is often not anywhere near as widely condemned as we would like it to be. Pedophilia and rape are evil, regardless of the gender of the victim and the offender. Stop supporting and defending child rape. Do not let your desire become an excuse for the romanticization and glorification of child rape.